All right, class, this is Mr. Beller. As you can hear me, my voice is pretty much shot. So I'm going to use the last of it to go over your lesson plan for today and a little bit of notes and then some instructions for what to do with the assignments. All right, so the lesson plan here is pretty straightforward. There's a short lecture which you'll take notes. That's step number one. You're going to show the sub that you have taken these notes, and the sub will initial off in the top right hand corner. After you get that initial, you're going to receive the French and Indian War DBQ. This is a major grade. To access these instructions that I'm going to go over with the DBQ, you can go to Canvas, to my pages, and to find something under 2B, homework number 13, it has the instructions there. At 1:40, you should transition to your flex period because we have the portfolio notebook due and the test remediation due. We're having that flex period. So a couple of things here for your portfolio notebooks. I need 2 homework assignments, one of them being homework number 12. I need 1 minor assignment. Remember, their minor assignments are either the Jamestown Slavery Summary article or 1 extra test remediation assignment. I need 1 major assignment, which is essentially the raft riding assignment with the 3 journal entries from the Free Black Man as a result of, or that we did after the Africans in America timeline when we watched the video. When you're compiling your portfolio notebook, just add to your table of contents. So you should see your table of contents and just say portfolio notebook number 2, and just continue your table of contents there. Listen out the items I should be able to grade. Don't take anything out of your portfolio notebook from the first submission. All the new items go directly behind and in the back. So you're building a portfolio throughout the entire year. All your completed Unit 1 test remediation activities need to be turned into the folder that the sub has entitled Unit 1 Test Remediation. If you need to see if any activities here, a couple places you can go. All right. First of all, to see all the remediation, there's a Jamestown and Slavery article summary review. Writing Free Black Men in Virginia, there's your major assignment. Remediation Unit Test 1, that will give you all the remediation assignments. There's a couple that say see Mr. Beller. That means that you need to see if you're a circle, triangle, or square. The list is right here for you guys, so you can find out if you're a circle, triangle, or a square. And then the assignments are right there. Unit 1 remediation activities for circles, squares, and triangles. All right. So that's the brief overview of the unit. If you would pause and get out a sheet of paper, we need to take some notes. All right. So these notes, I would put them in the exact sort of graphic organizer I have out here. The DBQ is going to start to focus on the French and Indian War. The French and Indian War is a major turning point in American history, especially when you're looking at the relationship between England and her colonies. This is a pretty crucial turning point. One of the major areas of focus that we're going to have will be the focus on perspective. If you remember from Friday, we want to continue to understand the idea, the concept of perspective, and how that impacts relationships, how that impacts how people view certain groups, certain institutions of power, how they view their relationship with another entity. So perspective is something that's going to be really key to understanding. The other thing that we want to look at here, as far as like a big concept, when dealing with North America around 1754 and dealing with the French and Indian War, will be fairness and development. Fairness and development with regards to relationships, and fairness and development with regards to power and privilege. So if we're looking at fairness and develop in North America around 1754, and we're looking at relationships, I think we can focus on three relationships here. The first relationship is the relationship between the French and the Native Americans. Remember, this one was built on the fur trade. It was mostly a trading and commercial relationship. So therefore, because the French and their method of colonization didn't really call for a large amount of permanent settlements, like the English, with Jamestown and Massachusetts and whatnot, the French and the Native Americans had a much friendlier relationship, or less volatile relationship, than the English and the Native Americans did. So when we see this war break out in 1754, it will be the French allying with the Native Americans versus the British and their colonies. Those will be the two sides. The second relationship will be the English and their colonies. This one can be characterized in 1754 by the term salutary neglect. The English had been pursuing, and to an extent they are still at this time pursuing, a policy of mercantilism, where they have economic power over the colonies. The colonies are doing everything they can to get around that. They are smuggling stuff, and basically, if they can get around the Navigation Acts and the policy of mercantilism, they are trying to, because we understand mercantilism not to be the best economic relationship for the colonies. Another turning point here between England and her colonies would be in 1688. We see in 1688 the Dominion of New England is abolished. The Dominion of New England was set up to basically take away all colonial assemblies, all modes and forms of self-government in the New England and Middle colonies. In 1688, the Dominion of New England is abolished. The colonies in the Middle colonies, such as New York, and the New England colonies like Massachusetts, they get their charters back. Therefore, they have self-government, and colonial assemblies are returned to them. And then after 1688, the British are going to adopt a policy of salutary neglect. Salutary neglect, just like you neglect to do something, you ignore it, you fail to do it. Salutary neglect is essentially the English adopting a policy where they ignore the colonies, and they allow the colonies to pursue self-government, to make economic and political decisions for themselves, as long as the colonies remain loyal to Great Britain. That's salutary neglect. And then the third relationship would be that between the French and the English. And that one can be summed up through competition. The French and the English are rivals. They're rivals in Europe, and they're also rivals in North America. And there's a large amount of competition over the disputed areas in North America of the Ohio River Valley. This would be the areas of modern-day, present-day Ohio, Indiana, parts of Pennsylvania, parts of what you would know now as West Virginia and Kentucky, or maybe not Kentucky, or maybe not West Virginia, but more so Kentucky. That would be the Ohio River Valley, and that area is disputed between the French and the British. Both of them are laying claims into that territory, and that will be the major cause of the French and Indian War when it breaks out in 1754. The other part of fairness and development that we want to examine is that of power and privilege. The conflict over power in North America between the French and the British turned to war. and this war would last for 9 years, from 1754 to 1763. And then after the war, the relationship between the English and the colonies alters or changes. And at the core of this change, it really centers around the idea of power and privilege, and the balance of power and privilege between the colonies and the British. So some major content or areas of content that we will look at and need to look at on Wednesday. Major events of the French and Indian War, and how the results of the war changed the relationship between England and the colonies. That's what we want to focus on Wednesday. So after you take those notes, you should get a DBQ packet. It has some documents here, mostly dealing with primary sources and the French and Indian War. So our focus for the DBQ will be centered around this question: how is the French and Indian War a turning point in relations between Britain and its American colonies? So there's a couple rounds you need to go through here. Round 1, you want to look at the documents and the dates associated with those documents, and you want to say, you can put this out in the margin even, this is before the French and Indian War, this is during the French and Indian War, or this is after the French and Indian War. Round 2, you want to read through those documents, circle any words you don't know, use a book dictionary to look them up. They can be found in the back bookshelves. Round 3, each document has a question associated with it. You want to answer the question. And then the last one, identify a combination theme that best represents the document. Provide a 1 to 2 sentence justification for that theme. So a combination theme means take one of the themes that are constant on the right-hand side and combine it with one of the Unit 2 specific themes. So like we did with mercantilism, we combine economic power. All right, just describe it. That's what you want to do for the documents. You want to take a constant theme and combine it with a Unit 2 specific, and then provide 1 to 2 sentence justifications there. That can be done on a separate sheet of notebook paper. You could just say source 1. It's a map, and you're looking at maybe geographic, whatever, and then provide your justification. Then you can drop down document number 2 and then do the same thing. If you have any questions, please let me know. Whatever you don't finish with the DBQ turns into homework for tonight and is expected to be completed by tomorrow, which would be Wednesday. Thank you.